Hello everyone, welcome back to Total Football Talk, and we're going to look at all the latest news and transfer news coming out of Manchester United, and there's plenty to dive into. Of course there is. It's Manchester United, and none of it is great, as per usual. Like, the transfer window itself this season has been horrific, so the news doesn't get any better. We're going to look at what's being said about Mbumo. We're going to look what's being said about Emi Martinez. Is there any truth in what's being talked about there? We're going to look at John Victor. We're going to look a little bit about Manchester United's academy. And what's being said about the young players that are potentially being shipped out the door, and why they're being shipped out the door, and what we think about that. And a little bit on Inter Milan and the Rasmus Højlund situation, and John Victor. I think that is the key stories at the minute that are currently kind of floating around. We will dive into we'll start with the Emi Martinez story, because obviously yesterday evening, I think, story started to break that Manchester United had started movement towards bringing in Emi Martinez, and this is what the story was. Manchester United have started formal negotiations to sign Emi Martinez. Both the club and the player are keen on the deal. Aston Villa are holding out for 40 million, while Manchester United are aiming to agree a fee closer to 33 million. Now, this is coming out from the Argentinian side of things. There's not a lot anywhere else coming out at the minute, but we believe that the Argentinian journalist has been pretty good in the past, and he's got quite a lot of things right. But I just feel this is more agent-led than it is from Manchester United actually pushing. I don't know where we're getting the money for this particular deal. I don't know how we make this deal happen. We need to sell Onana. Onana's injured. I don't see Onana leaving the club anytime soon. He's still got 2 years left on his contract. And he obviously wants to stay. I would prefer Emi Martinez. He's a better goalkeeper. He is an upgrade. Is Emi Martinez the best in the world? No. Is he the best that we could get? I'm not entirely sure. But he definitely is an upgrade on Onana. And I'd prefer to see him in goal than Onana in goal. But that's where we are with that particular story. Guys, thank you very much for joining me. I'm Keith, the host of this little channel. If you're enjoying the content, please hit the old thumbs up, likes button. And if you're new to these parts, please hit the old subscription button. Get your comments in below and anything that we talk about. It'd be great to hear from you. Okay, so get your comments in below about Emi Martinez. Would you think he's better goalkeeper than Onana? Would you prefer to have him in nets? Or is this just another pipe dream and there's nothing in it, just smoke and mirrors in Manchester United, or the agent just talking a lot of nonsense to try and help Emi Martinez get the opportunity to leave Aston Villa, because we know that Aston Villa are sailing close to PSR and they've got to probably sell players, and maybe that's all this really boils down to. Next up was the inevitable news about Bryan Mbeumo, and that is that the deal has stalled after Brentford apparently have raised their valuation closer to 70 million. So Jim Ratcliffe is intent on not being pushed into anything more than his club's value of 65 million for the forward. Now, this 65 million isn't quite there. Manchester United bid 55 million, I believe, and the rest have been on add-ons. I think Brentford wants 60 million or close to, maybe in and around the 60 million mark, with add-ons after that. And until we get there, I don't think we can do a deal. I don't actually know if the deal's going to happen now. I hope it does. We cannot waste 7 weeks, or whatever. If it runs in the next week, we're heading towards 7 weeks on one particular transfer where we've done absolutely zero, nothing, zilch talks. How much do you have to talk to find out what the bloody fee is? Like, how much time do you have to waste? 6-7 weeks trying to figure out what they actually want. Come on, they're desperate. They're saving money by not having to pay him a wage, but yet they're paying out a fortune in Rashford, Sancho, Anthony, Malacia, Garnacho. They're paying a fortune out in their wages, but yet no, we don't want to bring Mbumo in because we're going to have to pay out for his wage too. Again, poor business from the club, which is absolutely frustrating the hell out of me and every other Manchester United fan out there. And this makes me laugh. So apparently, according to the Mail Sport, Aston Villa are monitoring Alejandro Garnacho's situation at Manchester United. Another brilliant story, another load of nonsense, which I just can't get on board with. They can't afford. How are they going to afford? They can't afford Rashford. I get it. His wages are quite high. Garnacho's wages are much lower. He's on about between 50 to 70k a week. So that is more achievable. But Manchester United wants 70 million for him. We're not going to get that. Alejandro Garnacho wants to play in the league. I actually don't know if he'd even want to go to Aston Villa. Even though they're a better club than us right now, and God knows they'll probably do better than us next season too. But maybe he's got loftier ambitions like Rashford, and he wants to play for a so-called more established team. I don't know who that would be. Obviously, we know that Rashford's keen on Barcelona. Where's Garnacho keen on? He wants to stay in the Premier League, and maybe Aston Villa is a possibility. But they're sailing close to PSR, and they're having to sell players like Martinez, like their midfielder Rogers. They have Ollie Watkins as well. So maybe they are going to sell these players, and maybe they'll bring Rashford or Garnacho in as a slightly younger player. But until those players are sold, until there's actual movement, this is monitoring FC. It's like Aston Villa monitoring Garnacho, but I just can't see anything coming from it at the minute. There was also some news breaking on Sky Sports talking about Marcus Rashford, that Liverpool were interested in Marcus Rashford. That's beyond laughable. I think Sky Sports are so desperate now for coverage, or people to watch him, that they're just speaking absolute garbage. There's no way Liverpool would be interested in Marcus Rashford. I don't even think Marcus Rashford would get into the Liverpool team. Who's he going to take? Mo Salah's place? I don't think so. Well, on the left side, even if Luis Diaz was to leave, I think Liverpool would be buying a better, younger version to play on that left side than bringing in Marcus Rashford. And if Marcus Rashford is a United through and through fan, there's no way to ever want to go to Liverpool, because that would be just, I can't even imagine how that would go down in the fan base. So absolute nonsense from Sky Sports. I just want to bring that in because I can't believe they're actually running a story like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now there's a little bit so this was the Rasmus Højlund from the Larry Whitwell. Inter Milan no longer hold any interest in Rasmus Højlund because they've signed Angiona Boni. So there's no interest in Højlund actually going to Inter Milan. They've already got their striker, so that deal's dead in the water. Now, there is some other news coming in that John Victor has been scouted in case Altay Binder leaves. Manchester United could only afford Emi Martinez fee if Onana is sold. So again, coming back to my original point, Martinez, I can't see coming in. Even at 33 million, we haven't got the money. Onana can't be sold because he's injured. Where do we sit with all this? I don't even know. Close your eyes and pray to God, because this is absolutely horrendous. And this is there's one final little bit of horrific news, not horrific, but poor news. And this is breaking, and this has come from Stephen Ralston, who has very good connections with Manchester United, especially with the younger side. And he's saying Manchester United have been offering out academy players, some who were signed up for sizable fees, for almost nothing. Representatives and families are unhappy. Now, I haven't read too much into this, but what I can guess from this, Manchester United still want to make money. They still want to get these younger players' wages off the books too. So it's cost cutting right down through the teams. But the only place they can't actually cost cut is the players that are actually costing them the biggest amount of money. Rashford, Garnacho, Sanchez, Anthony. They're the players that they should be working to get out the door, not the young players. The young players are just, they're there. Yeah, maybe they're on slightly bigger contracts, and, Manchester United are trying to find places for them. Obviously there's a cycle, and at the end of a particular cycle, the young players have to move on. It's not easy, not nice. I can't even imagine what it's like for the families who are having to kind of deal with that, or the young players that are actually going through it. But I hope that they don't make a balls of this as well, because these young players deserve to be protected. They deserve to be given the opportunity to go somewhere else and not be used as cannon fodder, by this particular club, whose PR exercises are absolutely horrific, and are getting worse by the minute. Every time you open up a web browser or a link to anything, and it's just more Manchester United trash and nonsense, and we're just going down the pan. I don't really know. I'm despondent, I'm disheartened, I'm heartbroken at how this club is failing and falling into an abyss, and I'm not actually entirely sure how they climb out of this. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has beyond so much work to do that I give up on, even the hope that we can kind of dig ourselves out, because there's 6 weeks left to the league starts, and we've brought in one player and we've sold no one, and we're now just trying to jettison any academy kid that maybe is worth a few pounds, and just to get them off the books. Absolute shocking. It's depressing, it's annoying, and we're meant to have hope, and I've lost it all. Sorry, guys, a bit of a rant there. Okay, thank you very much for joining. If you've enjoyed that, if you've enjoyed any of the content, if you have any sort of take on anything I've talked about, Martinez, do you like him? Would you like to see Garnacho go to Aston Villa? What do you think about the younger kids coming through and maybe not getting opportunities and just being kind of shipped out? Any thoughts on anything that we've talked about, please get them in below. And we will do it again tomorrow. Speak to you then.